Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever it is for you. For me, it is just past midnight on Wednesday, the 11th of June, which makes this the news for Tuesday, June the 10th, 2025, day 1203 of Vladimir Putin's war of aggression against the people of Ukraine. How do you do? I'm Peter Alexievich, coming to you live at 5 from this major European capital, currently under siege. How's everybody? Hey, PH. How's everybody doing tonight, huh? I'll tell you, Mike Kelly, I'll tell you, I am exhausted. I am exhausted, man. Hey, Bip. Hey, Mad Mike. Hey, Nicola. Hey, Bamba Squeezer. I'm not mad at anybody. Hey, Steve with a V. Hey, Poppy Josh. Anthony Tommy Tom. There's Dawn. Everybody's coming in. Tizno's here. Croatia's in the house. Nice. Who else? We got, hey, Debbie. We got UK. Bjorn is here, so Sweden's in the house. Lars will undoubtedly be joining us shortly. Norway will be in the house. Evening, Neil. Hey, there's, now, forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly. Is it Cara? 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 Car? I'm probably the Americans. We're the worst, aren't we? Hey, Rob Walker. Hey, Richard Prexis. Hey, Scully. So, Cara, or good enough. Okay, thanks, pal. I appreciate it. I appreciate the generosity of spirit of the Nordic peoples. God, I hope you're Nordic. So, Cara is joining Fitz as the sponsors of tonight's live. And it's the first time sponsorship for Cara. And of course, Fitz is a member of the board of directors, if not the CEO at this point. We might have to make him CEO. Hey, Yorkshire Tea. Hey, G2. So thank those guys because I literally could not do this without them and without the Patreon folks. Really appreciate those folks. Hey, Chef Deb. So, guys, I am exhausted. Like, make no mistake. In the last 7 days, we've seen 3 of the largest drone strikes of the war. And it has been difficult. Some of you were on, like last night was just so loud, so intense that I did a special live, like from 3 a.m. until 4 a.m. here. Some of you were on that, and you got some sense, hey, Bobby, you got some sense, hey, Di, some sense of what it is like to live under the constant attacks, this campaign of terror that the Russians launch every night against the people of Ukraine. Greetings, Holly. Hey, Oscar's dad. Van is here. Hey, Kansas Steve. Guys, if you're not on the Peter's Peeps group on the Book of Faces that Nightshade manages, I encourage you to get on there. This guy here, Kansas Steve, is out there on the streets of Wichita, Kansas, protesting against the subversion of the U.S. federal system by malign foreign powers in the person of Donald Trump. And it really gives me hope that my fellow Americans have not completely lost the plot. And things will be changing, I hope. But his videos from Kansas, I repost on the Peter's Peeps public pages all the time. So I encourage you to join us over on the Book of Faces. Which is also where these lives get reposted after we're done, so that if you miss a live, it's available to you there. Hey, Richard Van Scooter. There's a guy I've sat down with and eaten a meal in Kyiv with. Thanks, Richard. I have very fond memories of that evening. I appreciate it. And guys, it's been tough, I'll tell you. I had a long day today. I was out the door and I just walked in the door at 11 o'clock. And what's the first thing that happens? Like, seriously, I'm just sitting down and the air raid siren starts to go off. The reality is that Russia cannot afford to send 500 drones a night every night for the next month. It seems highly unlikely that they can. They are only producing 5,000 drones a day. Are Jay and Travis here by any chance? Do we have either of the moderators here? Hey, Mrs. Toad. Russia will bring peace in the world. Holy cow. How far? I mean, you must not just drink the Kool-Aid. You must be mixing it. That's what I used to say to people when I worked at Microsoft. I used to tell people I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, I mixed it, which was my job at that time. I had an interesting conversation tonight with a kid who told me that Microsoft is shit. And you know, he's not wrong, but they did provide me with a living for 27 years. So it's awfully hard for me to speak badly of them. So thank you all. Hey, Mrs. Toad, Trump is not in here. If he comes in, though, I'll be happy to call him a treasonous piece of shit to his face. Anyway, so a couple of trolls there that had to be dealt with. Can you imagine living in a world where you believe that Russia is a force for peace? I mean, give me a break. All right, anyway. I'm like punch drunk tonight, which simply means exhausted if you're unfamiliar, if the TikTok AI is unfamiliar with that turn of phrase. And I'm exhausted, of course, because we can't get any sleep in this town, because the neighbors are making such a ruckus all night long. But I got to tell you, man, I just stand in awe of the mobile defense forces and the air brigades. Last night, are you ready for this? Lars, let me tell you something. These people, they could stand a little brainwashing. Their brains are dirty. They need a good brainwashing. Anyway, so last night, dig this, because it makes me so happy. You know, those KN-23s do a lot of damage. They cost Ukraine a lot of lives. Those North Korean missiles, right? The ballistic missiles North Korea sends. They cost Ukraine a lot of lives, and they are awfully hard to shoot down. And last night, the Russians fired 2 KN-23 ballistics at the territory of Ukraine, and both of them were intercepted. This is just like the 4 out of 4 Kinzhals the night before. Missiles that are hard for anybody to shoot down. Ukraine took them all out over the last 48 hours. That's an impressive feat. What is equally impressive is that of the 315 hold on, before we get to drones. 2 KN-23s, very hard to shoot down, both taken out. So for ballistic missiles last night, 100% interception rate. The Russians also sent 5 Iskander-Ms. They're the cruise missile variant. The cruise missiles, Ukraine does a little better with the cruise missiles usually. How many of the 5 did Ukraine shoot down last night? All 5. They had a 100% missile interception rate yesterday. 7 out of 7. 7 out of 7. Incredible shooting. It's a testament to the Ukrainians that if they just have the weapons, and I do believe that this high rate of incidents may have been influenced by recent deliveries of Patriot missiles from Israel. So the Iskanders, Bobby, come in 2 flavors. There's the Iskander K ballistic missile, which for all intents and purposes is indistinguishable from the KN-23 ballistic missile, the North Korean knockoff of the Russian Iskander K. These are ballistic missiles. They go all the way up to the edge of space, and then they come straight back down at hypersonic velocities, or supersonic at least. So I don't know exactly how fast they go, nor do I know exactly how fast the cruise missiles go. The cruise missile variant of the Iskander M, which can be launched from airplanes or ships or ground launchers, they have to travel at least 600 kilometers an hour, at least. Well, Mr. Anthony, we can start with that since, well, let me finish this update on last night's missile and drone attacks. And then, Mr. Anthony, I would be happy to answer that question as the kind of first topic. Hey, Fitz. Hey, Daryl Roberts. Hey, Scully. So, last night, 100% interception rate on the missiles, 88%, almost 90% on the drones, 277 out of 315. Incredible. Now, Russia, for its part, claimed that they shot down 102 Ukrainian missiles. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading my own writing. Boy, I don't have any idea what that says. Sorry about that. Okay, let's move on. Now, Mr. Anthony has a question. He'd like an update on the strike on the train. Now, look, I am not an expert. I can only tell you what evidence exists that I'm aware of. If somebody has new evidence, please send it to me. Here's what we know when it comes to Operation Spiderweb 2.0. If I'm not mistaken, it was the morning of June the 7th. The Southern Military Command stated that they had hit an engine, 13 tanks, and 100 armored personnel carriers, or armored vehicles and other vehicles. Southern Military Command made that claim. The Kyiv Military Command seemed to accept that claim because we saw a spike in the numbers the next day, and then it dropped right off the day after that. The evidence to indicate that this strike did happen, there's quite a lot of it, right? There's 55 meters of vaporized track between Tokmak and Mariupol, which is a major rail and logistics line for the Southern Military Command of Russia. And where this happened right in the middle of what we believe is the largest single internal transfer of men and equipment from Crimea and Kherson to Kursk, because the Russians have a problem. The Ukrainians have been going to bed and waking up every day, every night, in control of Russian territory for 10 months and 4 days now. Almost 10 months and a week. Russia needs them out of there. So they don't have any choice. They're pulling men and equipment from wherever they can to try to deal with the Kursk incursion. So there's this huge outflow of equipment on trains happening right now from the region that this train strike is supposed to have happened. Mr. Anthony, I absolutely believe that the Ukrainians struck a train. I absolutely believe that they have evidence that they took out 13 tanks, a bunch of armored vehicles, and a bunch of other vehicles, maybe 100 of them, as they claim. I believe all of that. That's all I believe of this story. There is zero evidence to indicate that there were grain hoppers on those military transport trains and that they contained drones. The entire story of Spiderweb 2.0 appears to be based on a Telegram post with no attribution. No, we're talking about the one from the other day, Judy. Judy, are you in Kyiv? Hey, Chris. Hey, Jeff Robbins. So, Judy, let me know if you're in Kyiv when you have a chance, or shoot me a DM me or something. Because now is definitely not the time to be in Kyiv, dollface. I'll tell you that right now. It is really not the time to be. I was talking to an Australian today. Oh, you're in Wisconsin. Okay. I was talking to an Australian today. He's here in Kyiv, and it's his first time out of the country. Quite a time to be here, I'll tell you. Okay, so look, when it comes to, now again, if somebody can point me to an official source, some video, the video that I have seen proves my point. The video that I have seen of the attack on the train shows the SPV drones approaching the train from a distance away, not launched from inside the cars. So I'm open to evidence if somebody can give me evidence. But it is so important, I think, when a story like this is going around, everybody's talking about it. When I don't find the evidence for it, you know that I'm a person that's interested in evidence. And so when I say to you in another video that this happened, you can be damn sure that to the best of my knowledge and given the current evidence, it did. You know? Anyway, to me, that's important. To me, that's very important. Now, the original, let's talk about the original Operation Spiderweb for a second. Because that is just amazing, right? Sitting in the Oval Office, Donald Trump had the nerve to say to President Zelensky, "You don't have any cards, look, you don't have any cards." When in fact, Zelensky had all the cards. All the cards. Operation Spiderweb was ingenious. Drones hidden inside of containers, dropped by air bases. In one fell swoop, Ukraine kicked one of the legs of Russia's nuclear triad out from under it. Incredible. Doing all of us a great service, for which they've had nothing but shit for from the administration in the United States. The idea that a U.S. administration could see a third of Russia's nuclear triad simply neutralized and not be grateful for it is insanity of the first order. Absolute insanity. In fact, to blame the defender for a legitimate military strike on a legitimate military target in a time of war. Insane. Absolutely insane. And for Russia to call the Ukrainians terrorists for that is obscene, while they tout destroying a maternity hospital, hitting schools, post offices, and other first responders. It's a sin. Now, so what did we see in this thing? 18 months of meticulous planning, and not a single Ukrainian shared that information with their spouse or children in a Signal chat. Somehow everybody managed to keep their fucking mouths shut and do their jobs. Something that the current administration in the United States is incapable of doing, Nightshade. Oh my God, Donald Trump is jealous of everybody. And I really seriously want everybody to remember this and think about this. His confidant, Elon Musk, his partner in crime, literally, is the richest man in the world and does drugs to try to be happy. We're not doing the billionaire class any favors by allowing them to exist. We need to tax billionaires out of existence for their own good. They will live happier, more contented lives, in my opinion. So Operation Spiderweb has been a massive success that has changed the dynamics of this war, and not just of this war, but of all future wars. Ukraine, while Russia devolves into motorcycle sidecars made from stolen bathtubs so that they can transport their wounded that way, Ukraine is breaking new ground in weapons technology, electronic warfare technology, drone technology, and defining the very nature of 21st century conflict. It's amazing. The two armies, the two solutions, the two cultures could not be more different. They couldn't be more different. And one of them is a way forward into this new century. The other wants to drag us backward, kicking and screaming, into the days of the absolute monarch, the days of the czar, when the peasants couldn't even leave the land for more than one day a year without their lord's permission. Now, I don't think there simply are not two sides in this conflict. There is an aggressor imperialist state hell-bent on erasing an entire language, culture, and people from the world. And then there's those people. As it's often said, if Ukraine stops fighting, Ukraine ceases to exist. While if Russia stops fighting, the war just ends. Now, you may remember, or you may recall, I talked last week about the hack of the Tupolev offices, right? The Tupolev the Tupolev Aviation Company, which builds the Tupolev 160 heavy bomber for the Russian Federation and produces replacement parts for the Tu-22s and the Tu-95s. That's what TU stands for, right, is Tupolev. Russia's largest airplane manufacturing concern was hacked by the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians got access to the home addresses, names, numbers, ID badge photos of the employees of the Tupolev manufacturing concern and what their jobs are. The Ukrainians now know exactly who everybody is that's engaged in the active maintenance or repair of Tu-22s, Tu-95s, and Tu-160s, as well as the engineers responsible for building the new Tu-160s. I forget exactly how many Tu-160s Russia has. Can somebody Google that real quick? How many Tu-160s does Russia have? I want to say it's 16, but I'm just making that up. I don't know. Somebody Google that, would you? But they've got more on order. So there's like an order in for another 6 or something like that. At the current rate of delivery, which is fallen to from about 2 a year to 1 a year, it's going to be a number of years before they get the ones that they've ordered. But the Tu-160 is being produced. Are they fair game to take out these workers? Hell yeah, Bobby. Why wouldn't? Yeah. They are directly involved. Now, that's one thing that could happen, Bobby. They could be targeted, for elimination. But I think with the junior staff, I'll bet you they're more likely to be targeted for recruitment, right? What are you making? Oh, you're making 40,000 rubles a month. That's pretty good. You're doing pretty good, pal. How would you like to make 60,000 rubles a month? That's a big difference, right? And here's what we need to know. We need to know where this is happening. What is this change, maybe? 16 to 18. I was pretty close, Dust Bunny. That's nice. Okay. So somewhere between 16 and 18 Tupolev 160s in service. And there's another 6 on order, but they're very slow getting them delivered. Oh, I forgot to mention Operation Spiderweb. We're now up from 22 confirmed planes to 25 confirmed planes from independent confirmed satellite images, right? I think that the Ukrainians know it's 41. They had the drones recording everything. They know what they hit. It's just that independent verification is going to take some more time, that's all. But my money's on it having been 41. Now dig this. Ukraine hits the heavy bomber fleet. Ukraine hacks the manufacturers of the heavy bomber fleet. Then Ukraine goes on for targeted strikes against the microelectronics industrial base inside Russia, the very cornerstones of the military industrial complex inside Russia that produces the high-end chipsets and electronic components of all of Russia's weapon systems. From the Iskanders to the Strelas to the gear that goes in tanks, they've all been hit. And they're going to keep getting hit. They're going to keep getting hit. Along with the gunpowder manufacturers, the chemical manufacturers that produce chemicals that they ship to the gunpowder plant to make gunpowder, like ammonium nitrate, right? Just that simple building block of the weapon. If you don't have gunpowder, you can't make most of these weapons. You can't make ammunition. You can't make artillery shells. It's a problem that snowballs down the supply chain. And Ukraine has been surgically taking them out. It's impressive. Ukraine is now threatening to cripple the Russian military industrial complex and its ability to produce war materiel in order to keep this war going. That's not the only thing that Ukraine is doing. We are increasingly seeing evidence of the Ukrainian Air Force, not just the F-16s, but the MiG-29s, involved in close air support of ground operations and infantry, in true air superiority combined arms warfare. And it's very effective. We got video today of a Ukrainian MiG-29 using AASM hammers to destroy a house. It was a residential house about 10 kilometers from the front in Zaporizhia. But the way the house blew up, those increasingly familiar trails of vapor as rockets cook off. This house was full of rockets. Now, it's very close to the front line. These were not, I don't know, what's a big air defense rocket like S-300, S-400? They weren't any of that. Not even Pantsers, probably. More likely, they were short-range rockets like for Estrella 10. Or they could have been anti-tank missiles. They could have been man pads. Those kinds of weapons. But boy, I'll tell you, when the house went up, literally the house went up. It was quite an explosion, followed by a huge mushroom cloud. And that was right on the front lines. Again, an indication of Ukrainian air superiority as a growing capability. And that is not all. We saw that another MiG-29 destroy a drone team north of Melitopol. Somewhere up along the front line, this team of drone operators that had been effective in striking Ukrainian targets across the Zaporizhia front line was targeted by a MiG-29 using AASM hammers. Remember, the French are sending 100 hammers a month. That means the Ukrainians can do 50 strikes, generally 50. They generally drop 2 of these precision-guided munitions in each bombing run. So they can do this 49 more times this month. They struck the drone operators. There were no survivors, by all accounts. The entire building collapsed on the team of who had been very deadly opponents down there. And they are no longer with us. Okay. Russian oil revenue is down 40% year on year. 40%. From about €1 billion a day to about 600 million euros a day. That's a 40% drop off. Huge. Also, we're seeing large drops in Russia's exports. Nobody's buying Russian shit. Look at the start of the full-scale invasion, America was buying, if I remember correctly, I think this is about right. At the start of the full-scale invasion, America was buying about $30 billion a year from Russia. Everything from caviar to oil. Now, America is buying less than $3 billion from Russia, a drop of 90%. Is buying less than 3 billion from Russia, a drop of 90%. We're seeing additional drops. So China, Russia's largest trading partner, exports to China are down 10%. This seems to be about the average. Exports to EU are down 11%, 4.1%. Africa, North America, South America, down between 10 and 11%. It's astonishing. That's a $16 billion loss year over year from the same period last year. First quarter numbers. These are all first quarter numbers. And these are from the Ministry of Finance, from the Russian Ministry of Finance. These are not numbers I'm making up. Curiously, we did see a drop in Chinese imports from Russia. But overall, Russian imports of foreign goods from Africa, North and South America, and Asia were all up, from slight rises of 2% to as high as 7%. What does this tell us? It tells us that Russia isn't doing business with nobody's buying Russian anything. And Russia is increasingly dependent on foreign goods coming into the country, despite the impact that that's having on inflation in a world where the value of the ruble is reduced. Although it has made some real gains recently, less because of its own strengths, more because of weaknesses of the dollar. PSYOP. Who's this PSYOP? Is he giving you trouble, kids? I can't even find him. Yeah, do you have some experience at that, Chris? Let me see what I can do here. Or Pete. Let me see here if I can do that. Okay, here we go. Okay. You're in, Peter. Or Pete. We'll call you Pete. I'm Peter. And that'll help keep us straight. All right, so guys, that's it for my top line news for today. A big thanks to Carr and Fitz, who are the sponsors of tonight's live. They are funny, aren't they? The guy, I don't think you were in here yet. The guy who said Russia will bring peace to the world. I lost it. Hysterical. Anyway. So big thanks to the sponsors of tonight's live. Big thanks to Nightshade, who has the Peter's Peeps group. Lars, who has the Discord server. And, of course, to Jay and Travis, the moderators. And Pete now. Hey, MJ. All right. They might be. I don't know. I haven't looked at the Chinese numbers. Russia's only manufacturing lies. That's a good line, Pete. I might steal that. That's a good line. Only manufacturing lies. That's a good line, Pete. I might steal that. That's a good line. Willow's Clock. We were talking about a Ukrainian strike on Russian drone operators. where the apparent the in the AASM hammer strike on the building that they are said to be occupying, there's nobody walked out of that building. It's just that simple. McCurran, according to Michael Brodsky, the Israeli ambassador to Ukraine. And according to Michael Brodsky, the Israeli ambassador to Ukraine, Israel did deliver to Ukraine its retired. Now Israel is denying it? Hey, Jacob Grady. Oh, that's funny. Well, I'll tell you something. Oh, pardon me. I'm so sorry. I'll tell you something. I don't know how we have seen this sudden increase. I mean, the best missile interception rate that the Ukrainians ever had before this week was 60%. There might have been one or two outliers where like 2 missiles came in and they shot them both down. Okay, fine. But for the most part, missile interception rates have run about 60%. Drone interception rates of late have been running about 83%. Suddenly, 500 air targets come in and you have 96 and 95% interception rates. That's not possible without a bunch more Patriots. Just that simple. How hard is it to get into Russia by motorcycle? I mean, besides the fact that it's completely inadvisable to do so, Mike, I don't know the answer to that question, pal. I mean, given the way that the Ukrainians walked into Kursk, it seems to me that the border's pretty fucking porous. Don't you think so? That's what it looks like to me. Hey, Jose Hernandez. There's an old friend of this channel. How you doing, pal? Not just did Ukraine down an Su-35, but a Ukrainian F-16 downed an Su-35. And this, I think, is what's important. If you remember, when we first talked about this news, when it first broke, I made the suggestion that maybe a Swedish 340, the Swedish AWAC, was involved. We are now seeing reports that, in fact, the targeting solution was provided by the Swedish AWAC. That's, I don't want to use the word game changer, but having those radar planes in the sky gets Ukraine all kinds of capabilities that they would not have any other way. Whatever happened with the troops from Colombia? Oh, somebody handled that, Daryl. I forget who. I knew at the time. I don't remember, but somebody came in and took care of that. So those guys are all being transported to Ukraine as we speak. Do you think Ukraine will be able to shoot down the bombers launching missiles someday? It's a great question. I don't know the answer to that question. But I do think that if anybody could do it, it's the Ukrainians. I guess the big problem with the bombers is that they fly at like 35,000 feet, at like 10,000 meters, right? And the maximum that we've seen a drone fly is like 15,000 feet, like half of that. Because if you could get the drones at the same elevation as the bombers, Seems to me it would be an easy thing to fly the drones into the engines, right? And like a flock of geese, baby, that those bombers are coming down. No, I'm not common sense. I'm not being crazy, right? You got four engines on those bombers. Well, some of them are actually propeller driven, but that's okay. You just need four drones that can fly into the propellers and explode. I don't think you need a fighter. Groovy. Yeah, I think that's coming because what we see consistently in this conflict is Ukraine come up with low end, cost effective means, leveraging new technology to inflict asymmetric damage on the enemy. Operation Spiderweb, even with the bribes, could not have cost $1 million. I don't think. Maybe with the purchase of the trucks, around $1 million. Every single one of those planes was $150 million plane at minimum. That one A50, $350 million. So, yeah, some kind of loitering drone with a high altitude capability. That's the thing. Yeah, me neither, right? But we don't have to be. Because if we can think of it, the Ukrainians have already thought of it and maybe that's one of those balloons. The balloons. The Ukrainians are using weather balloons to bring drone like motherships way up into the stratosphere and look for suitable targets. When they see them, they release the baby drones. Well, maybe those balloons could be the launching platform for such a bomber attack drone. I don't know. But I don't think that any of that is inconceivable. Or in the wake of Operation Spiderweb, I don't believe any of that is unthinkable. Just like China did to America. Well, that was different. But you're not wrong, Mike, right? It's the same kind of thing. Russia does not care about money. That's the problem. I mean, they care about it. They lust after it. They sell their souls for it. But they do that because of the power it gives them, not because of the money itself. I believe. Hey, Brandon. No worries, P-Tater. This is Give Me a Minute. Everybody gets a second chance. You can't see the chat. Well, I feel badly for you. Have you seen an ophthalmologist lately? We're all confused, pal. Van especially is particularly confused. Van is always very, very confused. I want to promise you that. Could be your phone. I can see the chat just fine. Now Flip brings up an interesting engineering question. In air that thin, that high, do the drones attain lift? Don't know the answer to that. Thank you, Pete. That's a great question. That is a great question. I do not know the answer. Hopefully you have a great night, Peter, and may all your farts be dry. Oh my God. You know, we were talking tonight about Ukrainian toasts. The toasts, I think, toasts really tell the story of the culture, the history, right? And I guess these are my three favorite Ukrainian toasts. Are you ready for this? In English. If they give you something, take it. If they beat you, run. Like, that's a Ukrainian toast. Another one, may we have all that we want and not get caught. That says a lot about the culture you're growing up in here, right? And then the last one, my absolute favorite, is may things not get any worse than they are. Like, that's a little bit of Ukrainian culture for you. So, yeah, Ukrainian toasts. Toasts. Okay, guys, it's 7 minutes to the top of the hour, and I am toast. Anybody have any final thoughts, questions, comments, etc.? Guys, we have, I think we have sponsors all week. Maybe Friday's available. No, I don't even think Friday's available now because Mrs. Toad is on board and Fitz has tomorrow night. But I'm always looking for sponsors for the lives. PayPal is in the description. And of course, I'm hoping that you will join the Patreon. What I would really rather have than a live sponsor is 10 people join the Patreon and can kick me $5 a month. If I can get that Patreon up to another 100 members, it's going to make a big difference in my life. But without the Patreon and the live sponsors, I could never pull this off. So this is a team effort. And I'm deeply grateful to everybody who makes it happen, especially the new people who are just coming in and doing their first live sponsorships, like Dawn has recently done, like Scully has recently done, like Carr did tonight. And of course, like Fitz does on a regular basis, for which I'm very grateful. I don't know why you would think I left Patreon. I did not leave Patreon. Patreon is my bread and butter. Absolutely. Most of the time, it's how I eat. Sometimes when there's no money there, I ask Cynthia and Tony for money, and they give me grocery money. Hey, Tony Takiri. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, sorry if I gave you that impression, Mr. Anthropy. Mr. Anthropy. Oh, I remember you, pal. It's a clever name. Tony Takiri, how you doing, bud? Still alive. Good for you. Thanks, V. Laugh is like a fingerprint. Oh, is that the confusion, Roy? That could be it. That could be it. Okay, questions, comments. Big thanks to Lars, who has the Discord server, Nightshade, who has the Peter's Peeps group, Jay, Travis, and Pete, the moderators. Thank you guys so much. About a week to go, and then I invite you again in Kyiv for dinner. Oh, 8 weeks. Oh, yeah, it'll be nice to see you, Flip. Have you been having trouble? Also, your feed is cut out. Is anybody having trouble with my feed? How am I buffering? Is it slow? What's going on? Oh, Nightshade, they make so many good cheeses here. They make some very bad cheeses too. And for some reason, everything gets translated as cottage cheese. I think because it's like homemade cheese is the idea, or like cheese from the farm. But in America, of course, cottage cheese is a particular thing. Um, no, there's some very good cheese here. I got a beautiful piece of gorgonzola for like next to nothing at Mega Mart last time I did grocery shopping. I mean, a really beautiful piece of gorgonzola. Artisan equals exactly common sense. That's exactly what it is. No, dude, I was in Amsterdam about 2 months ago. So some friends of mine were going. They invited me to come along, and I haven't. I had not had a break from Kyiv for like 2 years when I went. So it was only 3 days, but it was a very nice 3 days, very pleasant 3 days. I got to see two performances at Boom Chicago, which was great. Big fan of that city. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Pete. I'm a big fan of the hot pepper. I'm a big fan. So Nana Pam is saying that I'm buffering. It stops and there's no sound for a while. I don't think anybody else is having that problem. So a couple things. The Ukrainians are not into spicy. They're really not. Fortunately for me, there is an American that lives here out by Zotomir, out that way, out west. He's got a farm and he grows habaneros, Carolina Reapers, those kinds of ghost peppers, those kinds of peppers. And I get raw ingredients like ghost pepper from him. Mike Kelly, are you fucking kidding me, dude? 3 out of 5 largest drone attacks of the war in the last 7 days. 2 of them in the last 2 consecutive nights. Last night, if you remember, I was on a special live from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. and then was up and out the door at 8 o'clock this morning. I got back at 11, just in time for the air raid sirens to go off and start this live. I am exhausted. The whole city is exhausted. Which is the point. All right, well, the good news for me is that it's 1 a.m. here, so it is time to call it a night. Oh, Little Red, be careful. That's an expression that has all kinds of meanings, and I can't tell your tone. Bless your heart. Bless your heart. Usually that translates as, you dumb as a bag of rocks, ain't you, boy, and your mama done dropped you on your head too much as a child. Night, Flip. I look forward to seeing you guys when you get into town. Hopefully you'll have quieter nights by then. Yeah, that's way too long to talk about now. I'm not talking about that now. Sleep deprivation can be used as a form of torture. Oh. Yeah, you know, Lil Red. I know you know. Not yet, Tommy, but they're inbound, pal. We're under air alert, and there are missiles incoming. Well, I shouldn't say missiles. I know there's drones incoming. I'm not sure about the missiles. When is it time to relocate? As soon as every Russian is expelled from the territory of Ukraine and the 1991 borders are back. Then it's time to go home. But I'm not leaving here till I see Yalta. and have a picnic on a beach in Crimea. That's my intention. Hey, Magnus. All right, kids, make it a great day.